special edition of the Views Behind the Table podcast starts now. It's the second half of our evening celebrating 2 seasons of our podcast. Here the co-hosts dive in on their relationships with each other, reflect on the legacy of the View creator Barbara Walters, and have some laughs answering your questions. Plus, Anna Navarro makes a grand entrance. Now, here's executive producer Brian Tetta.
All right, let's talk about the person who rarely does the podcast, Whoopi Goldberg.
Yes.
She'll do it occasionally, and I try to pick my moments. And I know you're all saying, why do we have to do it if Whoopi
exactly.
doesn't? Yeah, that's another conversation. But you love it. You all love it.
Yeah.
Joy, I think View fans really love the connection between the two of you that has grown naturally
Me
in the
and Whoopi.
friendship. Yeah, the two of you.
Between me and Whoopi
Yeah.
or between you and me?
Well, that too. But you and Whoopi, I think,
yeah.
is what really
Yeah.
draws people to the show.
Yes.
And you're a lot of the reason why Whoopi is a co-host. I feel
That's
like.
true.
Tell us about that.
Well, there was a period where Star and Meredith both left at the same time,
Yeah.
and Barbara was in a panic state of what she could do, and other names were coming up. I won't say who they were because they didn't get the gig, and I said, "Whoopi, get Whoopi," and she listened to me.
And there was like a dinner party you went to with her at Barbara's house. Did that happen?
Yeah, but that wasn't when it happened. It was in a meeting where we were discussing who are we going to put in that seat.
What made you think she'd be perfect for it?
Because she's fun, she's funny, she's a serious person also, you know, she's political.
Yeah. It's worked out.
I thought she'd be great.
You can pick 'em.
Yeah.
Sarah, you sit between Whoopi and Joy. What is that like?
It's like being a third wheel every day. No, it's pretty amazing. I had originally wanted to go into comedy, and I couldn't make a living doing it. But sitting between them is
Wait,
like...
you wanted to do stand-up comedy?
No, not stand-up. I always remind you of this. Sketch comedy.
Oh, sketch. Yeah,
Very
sketch.
different muscle. I could never do stand-up. And I clearly can't do sketch either.
You might be able to do
Someday, a girl could dream.
No,
But
you
I
could do
sit,
that.
I sit
Stand up
between
now.
them, and the timing. There are times where it goes to commercial, and Whoopi or Joy will be like, "That was really funny." The other day, Joy told me I made a joke, and she's like, "So if you had delivered it right after this," and I was like, "Oh my God, tell me more, Joy." Like,
she wants to
so,
learn. She
yeah,
wants to
I
learn.
love comedy. Laughter is like a salve to my heart, and always has been.
There was a long period of time where every time I'd say something funny, she'd hit me.
Yes.
I was getting like black.
It started again.
I was like
No.
Punky
She-
Brewster
she's
and
back
Friends.
doing it again. I
Yeah.
noticed. Yeah.
No, I stopped doing it because you complained. Then they moved me to the other side, so your other arm got some
That's
love.
true. Yeah.
And then I just got my hands off of you completely. They put me next to Whoopi because they were like, try hitting that one.
Don't hit her.
Whoopi hits back.
No, but I think it's an amazing study, and their friendship is actually really beautiful. When they get talking and they're not even joking around, they're reminiscing about something. I sit there and I think, I will never forget these moments. Like, it's thoughtful, it's genuine caring for each other.
Yeah.
And they're legendary, so there's not a moment where I'm like, how did I end up right between you?
Oh, stop! You're gonna make me cry. Stop.
No, but Joy is actually just really funny.
Yeah.
the time.
All the time.
All the
When you're not
time.
cranky, or sometimes because you're
Well,
cranky.
you know-
She's funny when she's cranky.
Crank is, crankiness is funny.
Yes, no, it is.
Yeah.
Positive is not funny.
I am not
That's why
funny.
Sarah can't be a stand-up.
She's like, exactly. You have to have a real nasty side to yourself to be a stand-up comedian.
I'm
She
sure I
doesn't-
have one in
She
here
doesn't have
somewhere.
it. She doesn't have it.
Yeah.
She doesn't.
All right.
See, she's funny.
Joy
I
does
hate
that.
when
Sorry.
Joy wastes her best content in a morning meeting.
Oh, it
She
drives
won't-
me
You won't
crazy.
reuse a
She
joke.
won't reuse it.
No.
And you often have
And you know how to.
excellent
You
lines.
could deliver it twice.
What?
Yeah.
A joke. Once
Yeah.
you use it in the meeting, you like leave it there.
These hot topic meetings, guys, you have
They're
no
off the
idea
rails.
what
They're
happens.
off
They're
the
in
rails.
They are, they're,
I hate them.
I know. But the topics you guys are choosing, but
How many
yes.
times
No,
I-
that's my favorite. When you, Joy, we get to the table and Brian walks over and Joy's like, "That was awful," and he's like, "You
picked
picked
it. Exactly.
Well, they give us a
Exactly.
list of like how many
Like
topics.
50 or 60
Yeah,
topics.
50 or 60 the night
As if
before.
I read every one of them. I
Yes.
just scan them, let's say. And so the headline looks interesting. I'll put it down just to give them something to keep them quiet. And then when it comes down to actually talking about it, it's like, I don't
Because a
wanna
lot
talk
of times you're doing the crossword puzzle while we're picking them. That's
true, or on the phone.
Yeah, but sometimes, anytime Joy has a great line on a topic, it's wasted in the room because she says it, everyone laughs, and she will not repeat it under any
No, a
circumstances.
comedian does not repeat.
I know, but there's a
But I
full
thought
audience.
that's what made a comedian good, is you could re-deliver it.
I
Yes.
could, but you guys have heard it already, and that pisses me off. So I'm not going to do it again.
We'll always faux laugh for you. We'll double
All right.
laugh.
Let's talk about Barbara Walters. As many of you probably know, because we'll be talking about it a lot on the show, ABC News Studios documentary, Barbara Walters, Tell Me Everything, will premiere June 23rd on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.
Yeah.
Barbara, of course, was the creator of The View and has left a long-lasting legacy on not just The View, but ABC News and journalism in general. Let's talk about her. Alyssa, your mom's a journalist. Did she look up to Barbara when she was starting out? Was that someone that you were aware of?
Completely. Like from, I must have been, 6 or 7 years old. I remember once I said on air, I was like, when you're a little kid having like your breakfast in the morning and you're watching Good Morning America, and Joy's like, what little kid watches that? I'm like, well, my mom was a journalist. So we constantly had the news on, and she was the pioneer. She was who any journalists, but especially female journalists, looked up to. Yeah. And I mean, there are so many interviews that come to mind that are just like the best. Like whether it's she can go from doing a celebrity interview and getting to something that no one else would, to interviewing Vladimir Putin or Saddam Hussein. Like she was just
Castro.
unparalleled.
Trump.
Yeah, just just somebody that I've admired my whole life. And honestly, if you told me at any point I'd be on a show she created, I'd be like, that's not true. Stop lying to me.
Sonny, you got to work with her a couple of times.
I did. Yeah.
What was that like? What do you remember about it?
I was scared. She was a force, especially during the Hot Topics meeting. I think you remember that, Joy.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
she asked me during one Hot Topics meeting, what do you think? And I didn't have any thoughts.
Sonny was speechless.
Yeah, the first time.
Oh,
I felt sick. And then I also remember we were going to be interviewing Bette Midler, and I was rewriting my questions on set. I was with you, Joy, and she said, what are you doing? And I said, I'm rewriting my question. She said, let me see it. And I felt like a teacher asking me like to look at my paper before I was done. And I handed it to her, the blue card, and she said, oh, this is better, good.
oh.
And that made my life.
Did you frame it?
I should have. It
Should have.
made my
that's
life. I mean, she was tough.
Yeah.
She was tough.
She was, but she
But
was smart.
she was smart and helpful. She was willing to help.
Sarah, I know you never got to guest host when she was here, but you really looked up to her from afar, right? I mean, she was somebody.
Yeah, I don't know someone who doesn't look up to Barbara Walters. I think whether you're a journalist, whether you're a woman, to see someone like breaking the barriers she did, and she was a sniper in an interview. Like when you watch those interviews, oh my gosh, in one moment you're like starting to warm up to her, and all of a sudden she sends you the dagger.
Yeah.
And you find people being like, but it wasn't me. Oh my God, they just
made them
admitted it. Like, I mean, unreal. And I have like deep forms of empathy. So as I watch, I get so uncomfortable for the person that's about to feel it.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're going down. Like,
There's no one better at an interview. And
No.
we're talking about that with Andy Cohen today. About
because Andy Cohen has a charming Barbara Walters-esque approach.
he does.
She was
Yeah, I mean,
a force.
yeah,
Yeah.
and a friend of yours too, which is different than everybody
I
else.
was the only one that was ever invited to dinner parties.
Yeah,
She invited me to the dinner parties all the time, and then she'd like go around the table. So my husband would come, and he doesn't.
The ex?
He's not in the business. He's a school
Steve
teacher.
or the other one?
No, the second one.
Okay.
what's his name?
What are you writing a book?
I'm taking notes and I'm going to sell it one day, so.
So she'd say, "Okay, let's go around the table. Well, who do you want for vice president?" And you'd have to
Back it up,
You'd have
I
to
bet.
speak up, and Bloomberg would be there, and she also would love to tell a dirty joke.
Do you have a good one you remember?
I can't tell it.
All right. One thing I know you picked up from Barbara was the art of the plug. I've learned
Yes.
that. You used to tease her about her book audition that she would plug on the show on The View every day.
Every day.
You
and
pick-
2020, every
Yes.
single day.
Well, you picked up something from this, and I think we have a clip of Joy on the podcast over the last few months. Let's take a look at this.
I have this show, My First Ex-Husband. Well, we're trying to book my show now, My
Right.
First Ex-Husband. My show, My First Ex-Husband, my play, My First Ex-Husband. Well, my show, My First Ex-Husband. Here's the thing about the show, MyFirstExHusband.com is where you should go. In my show, My First Ex-Husband. So the bride guys are coming to My First Ex-Husband.
You learned it from her. No, it's work.
I
Listen,
love it. Woo!
you've earned it.
But may I
I
say
love
that
it.
my first ex-husband is on the road, going on the road now. We're doing a few shows in the Hamptons, and we're going to Houston, and we're going to London. It's going to be everywhere.
That's really cool.
We have Joy, I don't know if you know this, but Paul, our floor director, we have a bet.
Is that what you're always laughing about?
Yes.
But that I will mention it?
No, because what she does also, there'll be a guest that comes on, and she's constantly casting for her show.
Like Robert De Niro, and I'm not joking.
So, like,
have
we
shot
make
her
a
cell
bet
phone
as to whether or
numbers.
not Joy is going to ask for their contact information to put them in one of her plays or one of her shows.
Yeah.
So when we know who's coming out, I say to Paul, she's going to ask.
Yeah, if they're
And
Italian,
with Robert
definitely.
De Niro,
I have his
said,
number.
I could not
said,
believe
she's
it.
going to ask, and he was like, "I'll take that bet." Bottle of champagne. I was like, "A good bottle of champagne," and you did it.
I would have lost that too.
I
One
could not
time-
believe.
One time I lost my phone.
Yeah.
And I don't know how the person got into it, but they found it in there. And they called the number. They went to home and they called the house. And Steve picked it up. And they said to him, I knew this was important because Al Sharpton's number was in there.
Yeah.
That's an important thing to have. All these very important people.
Did you ever call De Niro? Did you ask him to do it?
No, not yet. I don't have the right part for him yet.
All right. All right. So one of the things we did this year, we started the Weekend View. I mean, this is we
There's
have
no end
branched
to it.
out.
There's
There's
no
no
end.
end to it. Do you guys watch the Weekend View? There we go.
Weekend View is fun.
It's a lot of fun.
and we don't talk about Trump either.
No, it's fun topics we don't have time for in the rest of the week
Yeah.
usually. And what viewers might not realize is the reason it's so much fun is because they are so tired by the time we are doing
We
this.
usually shoot 3 shows on one day.
Yeah, and you are so loopy at this
Crazy.
point that you'll talk about anything. You'll go further than you should.
Yeah.
I'm going to go
Or
through
sex.
some of the topics we've done on the Weekend View. Would you go on a nude vacation? Could soft swinging help your relationship?
We had all those terms wrong.
Right. Sure.
I know. Tell them what soft swinging is.
Well, soft swinging is, well, you explain it better.
No, you tell them.
It's going outside the marriage. And,
everything but sex.
Doing
just
everything but
softly,
sex. It was
yes.
popularized by the Mormon housewives.
wives.
Yep.
All right, the other ones we had here is love bombing a turnoff. I think the feeling was yes, generally, right?
Yes.
And let's see, and co-hosts reveal their mom's hottie era.
Yeah,
What do
we
you
do that.
What do you guys enjoy about the lighter version of the View? I'll start with Alyssa, who actually enjoys it.
I don't have to fight with anyone. It's like we're not going to fight over those. No, it's like the fun things that I feel like I'm talking about with my girlfriends when we want to turn our brains off after work, and like there's a time and place to be engaged and to be active, and that's always important to be an informed citizen. But then sometimes you want to have a glass of wine and you want to talk about
Yes.
sex toys and how to like improve your marriage. I need that in my life.
And we get tips. Joy gives good tips. She
gives good
Good sex tips.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have a couple of Q&A questions here from the audience. Carlos asks, what is the audience's biggest misconception about each of you, either on the View or outside of the View? Let's start with Sarah Haynes.
Why me?
I don't know. You were grimacing.
Well, no, because I was like, what is the biggest misconception?
But that's a Barbara Walters question.
Yeah,
She
it
always
is.
asked every guest.
Or how about somebody who has an answer?
I think the biggest misconception is that I'm some sort of controversy queen. You know, I'll say something on the show and then it gets picked up all over the place. And I have people calling me like, oh, you know, I get all these death threats and all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, I don't even remember saying
Days that you before the show starts occasionally, like at 10:58, Sonny will come over to me and goes, Brian, I don't want to be the controversy queen.
I
I'm
don't
not
want
saying
to be the
anything on this."
controversy queen.
But those are the days
like
you are
I'm
the
a nice
controversy queen.
person.
I know, but you speak your mind, and you have to be. You're authentic, and that's what people watch the show
I'm a
for. Am I
little
right?
blunt.
Yeah.
I'm a little blunt.
Yeah.
You're raising your hands.
Yeah.
But I'm not controversial.
Oh, does someone have bingo?
Yeah, it's got
Does
his
someone have
hand
bingo?
Of course you have bingo.
All right.
Oh, bingo.
Regina's coming over with the bingos. Hold on. Let's take a look at this.
Oh, yes.
This is exciting.
I didn't even say
Four.
legal hat.
These are the first 4 winners of bingo. All right. So the first one, Joby and George. They had Joy Got Fired, Harvard,
Yep.
Miami. I guess that was Anna. Steve and Sandra.
Oh,
There we go.
wow.
That
You said Sandra. I
It
did.
counts. Here's another one we got across. Joy Got Fired, Wine, Miami, Republican, my first ex-husband.
Well, that's obvious. You played the thing.
Therapy, Cha-Cha, Wine, Steve, and Harvard. And finally, Cha-Cha, Steve, Wine, Joy Got Fired, and Sandra. So we have 4 winners. Congratulations, guys. That was Ella, Kaylee,
Who came up with this dumb game?
me, Steve. There we go. Was there ever any question that it was me? All right. What about you, Joy? What's a
I don't
misconception
know.
about you?
I have no idea.
That she's cranky.
I'm only cranky when I'm working on the show, though. I'm not cranky at home. It's kind of like, oh, this show, what am I going to say? Every day I have to come up with new things to say. And every day there's a million topics that I have to have an opinion about. You had good topics yesterday. And
Tomorrow we have good ones.
You were talking about Patti LuPone.
Let's talk about Patti LuPone because you weren't here for it yesterday.
Yeah.
What did you think of that?
That's your friend, isn't it?
Patty just talks. She's got a big mouth. It's like, why are you criticizing somebody who's doing gypsy and you did gypsy?
Right.
I think she knows it too because she apologized.
She apologized.
And anyway, Audra McDonald, I've seen them all. Bernadette Peters and Tyne Daly and Bette Midler, I've seen them all. And Audra I saw Patty. And they were all brilliant because it's a brilliant show.
Anna Navarro, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on.
Oh my God.
All right, hang on.
Time is up. We're done.
Here we go.
Goodbye.
Just in time. I've been
my
stalling because I've
God.
been treading water.
Anna.
Just sit here. You're
Sit
here.
over there.
You're in the middle.
Oh my God.
Make it quick.
You made it.
Chacha has not peed.
All right. So, as we all know, I barely talk on our episodes, and I just say hello, Anna, and 20 minutes later, the podcast is over.
Which is why they rate so well.
Yes. I will say they do very well, and that might be because I don't talk. But we get to hear about your views. We get to hear about your wild New York and Miami nights and your famous friends. But you're also very passionate about spotlighting artists in the Latino community and immigration in this country. Why is it important to talk about that?
Well, because look, when you are Latino in this country, when you're black in this country, when you are underrepresented in this country, and the truth is Latinos and immigrants are underrepresented in every single sector, whether it's Hollywood or corporate America or you name it. When you are underrepresented and you have a national platform, I think you feel a responsibility, a duty, and a privilege to represent. And so I hope one day I don't have to. I hope one day I can just show up and not worry about telling those stories. And today, in particular, with what is happening, where the Latino community is being vilified and targeted and hunted down in the streets of America without due process. Cowardice is contagious, but so is courage. Yeah. And I think we all have to catch courage and stop being afraid of speaking up. So I think it's really important to put out the positive, happy stories, to put out the stories about the contributions that Latinos make on a daily basis to this country. And it's not just the artists and it's not just the celebrities, it's the people working day in and day out to make this a better country. So are there any bride guys in the audience?
Yeah.
There's Joy Boys too, though.
Yeah.
Joy boy. That's a bride girl.
Bride girls, Joy Boys, they're all here. This
I
is
think
exciting.
they're all plants.
I'm a sunny honey.
Sunny honey.
I
My
like
moment's over.
that.
All right. That's all the time we have today, guys. But thank you so much for joining us this evening. We very much appreciate our loyal viewers, our listeners. This is why we do it. And a very special thank you again to our sponsor, Blue Nile.
Yes.
And lastly, thank you to ABC Audio for supporting Behind the Table.
Yes.
And thank you to the entire team at The View who puts together everything, especially Nathan and Summer and
Yes.
Emily and everybody involved. Thank you, Regina, for warming everybody up.
Yeah, Regina.
And the entire team at The View. Have a great evening, everybody.
Behind the Table is executive produced by Brian Tetta. Supervising producers are Summer Shake and Nathan Getty, with production assistant Emily Darcy and editor Brian Davis. Special thanks to Laurie Hogan, Molly Kaiser, and Katerina Alexopoulos. Producers for ABC Audio are Trevor Hastings, Camille Peterson, and Amira Williams. With supervising producer Susie Liu, executive producer of podcast programming Laura Mayer, and vice president Liz Alessi.